#the badge. General Marcus Holloway had seen everything in his 32 years of military service. 2 wars, 4 continents, more medals than he could wear on one uniform. He'd commanded Rangers, Delta, SEALs. He'd stood in rooms with presidents and warlords. Nothing surprised him anymore, until he walked past the Barrett M82A1 leaning against the armory wall and saw the woman cleaning it. She was small, couldn't have been more than 5'3", with her dark hair pulled back in a regulation bun. Her hands moved with mechanical precision over the massive rifle, a weapon that weighed 30 pounds and kicked like an angry mule. Most men struggled with it. She handled it like an extension of herself. Holloway had been heading to a briefing, but something made him pause. Maybe it was the way she worked in complete silence, focused entirely on her task. Or maybe it was the unusual badge on her uniform that caught his eye in the fluorescent lighting. He stepped closer. The badge was standard military issue, a silver rifle crossed with a wreath. But the number etched beneath it made him stop mid-stride. 3,200 meters. Holloway blinked. Read it again. His mind automatically converted. 30,500 yards. Over 2 miles. That couldn't be right. "Petty officer," he said. She looked up, immediately recognizing the 3 stars on his collar. She stood at attention, the cleaning rod still in her hand. "At ease," Holloway said. "That badge, the 3,200-meter designation, is that real?" "Yes, sir." "You're telling me you qualified at 3,200 meters?" "No, sir. I qualified at 2,800 meters. The 3,200 is my confirmed combat kill distance." The armory suddenly felt very quiet. Holloway had qualified as a sniper himself 40 years ago. His longest confirmed kill was 890 meters, and he'd been damn proud of it. The world record he knew of was around 3,540 meters, set by a Canadian JTF-2 sniper with a Macmillan TAC-50. "When?" he asked. 18 months ago, sir. Helmand Province." "What's your name?" "Petty Officer First Class Sarah Chen, sir. SEAL Team 7. Chen." He'd heard that name. Briefings, after-action reports, the first female sniper to fully integrate with a SEAL team, record-breaking scores. But he'd assumed the records were for women's categories, not absolute records. "Tell me about the shot," Holloway said, pulling over a metal stool. "This briefing could wait." Chen set down her cleaning rod, her expression neutral but her eyes sharp with memory. 3 high-value targets, sir. Taliban commanders planning an attack on a coalition supply route. They were meeting in a compound outside Lashkar Gah. Airstrike would have caused too much collateral damage. Residential area. Standard approach would have alerted them, so it had to be long distance. 3,200 meters isn't long distance, Holloway said. It's science fiction. It's math, sir. Chen's voice was matter-of-fact. Bullet drop at that range is approximately 97 feet. Flight time is nearly 5 seconds. Coriolis effect pushes the round about 8 inches right. Then you factor wind, temperature, humidity, air density, even the curvature of the Earth at that distance. She said it like she was reciting grocery items, not describing one of the most complex calculations in modern warfare. "You're telling me you did all that math in your head?" "No, sir. I used a ballistic computer for the baseline. But the computer doesn't know everything. It doesn't feel the wind shift. It doesn't account for the heat shimmer patterns that tell you about air currents. It doesn't understand that 3 seconds after sunset, there's a 5-minute window when the thermals stabilize." She paused. "The computer gets you close. Experience gets you on target." Holloway studied her. There was no bravado in her voice, no ego. She spoke about the impossible the way a mechanic might discuss changing oil. "How many targets?" "3, sir. Sequential shots. 8 seconds between first and last trigger pull. 3 for 3 at 3,200 meters. Holloway shook his head. "In 8 seconds. 7 seconds, sir. But yes. Why 7? The sound takes approximately 9 seconds to reach the target area at that distance. After the first shot hits, you have about 5 seconds before they understand what's happening and take cover. I needed to be faster than their reaction time." Holloway had commanded special operations for 15 years. He'd worked with the best snipers in the world. What Chen was describing wasn't just exceptional, it redefined what was possible. What rifle? Macmillan TAC-50, sir. Custom loads. 750 grain AMAX bullets with slightly reduced powder charge for subsonic stability at extended range. I made the rounds myself. You hand-loaded your own ammunition? Standard military rounds aren't optimized for extreme distance, sir. At 3,200 meters, a 0.1 grain variance in powder can mean a 6-inch difference in impact point. I couldn't leave that to chance. Holloway was quiet for a moment, processing. This wasn't just about physical skill. This was obsessive attention to detail, deep understanding of physics, and the kind of patience that couldn't be taught. Your commander, he said. What did he say when you proposed the shot? For the first time, something that might have been a smile flickered across Chen's face. He said, "No one can make that shot, sir." What did you say? I said I can. Holloway stood, pacing the small armory. Through the window he could see the desert training range stretching into the distance. The longest lane was 1,000 meters, barely a third of what Chen had done in combat. I need to see your file, he said. Sir, your complete file. Sniper school deployment records, after-action reports, all of it. May I ask why, sir? Holloway turned to face her. Because, Petty Officer Chen, I'm redesigning our advanced sniper training program. We've been teaching the same curriculum for 20 years, certifying shooters to 1,500 meters and calling it elite. You just told me you confirmed a kill at more than double that distance. Against moving targets, in combat conditions. He gestured to the Barrett. We're training snipers to be good. You're proving they could be transcendent. I want to know how. I want to know if it can be taught, or if you're just a once-in-a-generation anomaly. Chen was quiet for a moment, considering. Permission to speak freely, sir? Granted. I don't think I'm special, sir. I think most snipers could do what I do if we stop telling them what's impossible. The 2,800-meter qualification limit isn't based on human capability. It's based on tradition. We could push farther. We should push farther. You're saying our limits are artificial. I'm saying limits exist until someone proves they don't, sir. Holloway felt something he hadn't experienced in years, genuine excitement about a tactical innovation. Chen wasn't just a good shooter. She was evidence that the next generation of warfare might look completely different than anything they'd imagined. I'm putting you in for the Silver Star, he said. That shot saved lives, probably dozens. Thank you, sir, and I'm reassigning you. Chen's expression flickered, uncertainty for the first time. Sir, instructor duty, Fort Bragg, you're going to teach our best snipers how to think past their limitations. You're going to help me build the next generation of long-range precision fire programs. He smiled. Consider it a direct order from someone who thought he'd seen everything. Chen stood at attention again, but this time there was something different in her eyes. Not just competence, but purpose. Yes, sir. When do I start? Next month. But first, Holloway gestured to the Barrett. I want to see you shoot. There's a range outside Vegas that goes to 3,000 meters. I need to watch this with my own eyes because right now half my brain is telling me that badge is a clerical error. It's not an error. Sir. Then prove it, Petty Officer. Show me impossible. 4 weeks later, Holloway stood in the Nevada desert, wind whipping sand across his face, watching through a spotting scope as Chen settled behind a rifle 3,000 meters from a target. The distance was so great he could barely see her, just a dark shape against the tan landscape. Beside him, 3 master sergeants from the marksmanship unit watched their own scopes, their skepticism obvious. They'd seen the reports. None of them believed it. The radio crackled. Ready when you are, sir. Holloway keyed his mic. You may fire when ready, Petty Officer. Silence. Then, distantly, the crack of a rifle. Holloway counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The steel target, a 2-foot square barely visible at this distance, rang like a bell. Hit. One of the master sergeants breathed. Dead center. Chen's voice came over the radio, calm as ever. Adjusting for wind shift, firing again. Another crack, another hit. 8 shots, 8 hits. At a distance most snipers considered impossible. When Chen walked back to them 30 minutes later, rifle slung over her shoulder, the master sergeants looked at her like she'd just performed magic. Holloway just smiled. Welcome to your new assignment, Petty Officer Chen. Now let's figure out how to turn impossible into standard operating procedure. Chen nodded, looking out at the distant target, then back at the general who'd been willing to believe what everyone else said couldn't be done. Yes, sir, she said. Let's rewrite the manual.